I'm Eddie Cannell.
And I'm Tom Cannell.
Welcome, everyone. This is the Mortgage Brothers podcast show, and today we are talking about closing costs in relation to refinances. A lot of confusion as to what closing costs are.
Yes.
And you know what? And they also, something that gets really confusing is the prepaids, right? We've already done podcasts and talked about prepaid taxes and insurance. We want to talk about closing costs and make sure that we did make a clean distinction between these two in this podcast.
Right. Okay. So closing costs. Hey, Tom, Ed. Hey, I want to get a refinance, but I want to know how much my closing costs are going to be. What's it literally going to cost me to do my refinance? It kind of a joke there, but it's very, very simple. There are costs that they're not cute. They're not supposed to be cute. They're simply, like Ed, you had said, like getting your oil changed. They're just, it's like labor to change your oil. They're just simply costs that every refinance has to do. It should be very simple. It should be very black and white, no matter where you go. Now, some companies will have gimmicks and confuse the heck out of you, but this is going to be a gimmick-free breakdown on what closing costs are. Because, folks, if someone says they don't have closing costs, run. Not possible. Sorry.
That's right. They're pulling one on you. There are tons of advertisements out there. You'll hear them on the radio. These guys will say, no closing costs. They're full of it. All they're doing is doing a cute little trick of raising the interest rates and creating some type of lender credit to pay for them. They are hiding the fact that there are costs. Nobody is going to touch your file. No one's going to review tax returns, do all the work necessary for nothing.
Also, too, I want to throw out there, this is not talking about are we rolling closing costs in or not, okay? We're just talking about what are the costs. You always have the decision later whether or not you roll in or not, but this is just what are the costs. Okay, so we've got a little sheet we're going to pull up.
We're just going to show you the costs, okay? Let's just say the loan amount's $250,000, okay? So we're going to be looking at this refinance. From the very top, let's just talk about the fees. You're going to see an underwriting fee or an admin fee or a processing fee. This is from the bank, and it may be called, again, one of those items, and they may have another clever name for it. And then that would be about $900 to $1,000, and that's what we're seeing in the market. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've seen them range from, $900 to $1,495. Ours is going to be typically it's either $895 or $995. Those are the two fees that we have. So
you'll have that fee from the lender. Then you will have a flood certification fee. That's to just take a look at the FEMA maps, make sure you don't have whether you need flood insurance or not. Again, this is not a negotiable item. It isn't something that where you get to decide if you want the flood certification done. It's automatically going to be done. You should see that in about $10 for that. Very typical fee. Another fee is a tax service fee that the bank is going to charge. Usually around $70 in that range.
Are we making any money off these, by the way?
No.
Zero.
Correct.
Zero. These are simply costs that are incurred in order to fulfill a certain obligation the lender has. So they are not profit centers. These are not ways for our lenders to make any money.
Right, because these are just the labor costs here. And credit report. I mean, we have to pull a credit report. Credit report fee, you'll see that as a part of your closing costs, usually around $40 to $50. We're seeing them really close to 50 right now. They've gone up over the years. So, don't be it wasn't a couple of years ago, we were charging 30, but the costs are not ours, right? We are not making any profit on these credit reports. It's the bureaus themselves that have increased their fees, and they're around for us right now, they're about $48.
And actually a little bit of, I guess, contentious for me. I've always been frustrated that I feel like we've been captive, with these bureaus, because these fees just simply come down to us. Again, we don't make any money off this at all. And as a cost that we typically incur before a loan even actually gets registered. So we know we are taking a risk, but we do it for our clients. But again, that comes straight from the bureaus. So we do not see a dime. And a lot of borrowers just flat don't know it. They'll call us and say, "Hey, can you just pull my credit for the heck of it?" It's like, well, we say no for a couple reasons. One is, regulation, restricts us from being able to do that. But two, it costs almost $50.
Okay, so another fee you're going to see is an appraisal fee. There is a chance that your home we can actually get an appraisal waiver. Okay, it's possible, but an appraisal waiver would be when the bank does not require an appraisal, and you would actually have a zero appraisal fee
Right.
cost.
It is their typically awesome credit score and low LTVs. All right, keep going.
Okay, so if you need an appraisal, that's going to be around $500. Okay, you do not expect something at $400. That is no longer the case in the market today. We are in 2021, so depending on when you're watching this, appraisal fees are going to continue to go up, just like all fees over time with inflation. But you're going to see right now they're at 500. You may see FHA fees at about 550, and the VA loans are set at $600 across the country. So you may see that if you're getting a VA loan.
Wow. And we also go through an appraisal management company. These appraisal management companies, are set up to be highly competitive. So most of our borrowers don't worry about the appraisals. But if you do, just know, again, everything is so regulated and everything is so competitive and if they vary, they may vary $25. If they vary drastically, more, then there's something missing. There's something going on.
So something important too, like the only closing cost that you should have to pay up front should be the appraisal. All right. Everything else is going to be collected at the close. You have the option to roll these in by increasing your loan amount. It's just the appraisal that you should be paying up front.
Yep. Good call. Okay, right, so what are these closing costs? Well, actually, that's just the lender portion.
Yeah, and I'm just going to just say that the big retail banks out there, what you will notice if you're not careful is they will charge you a fee usually around $500, and it's non-refundable. So be very careful before you actually contact any big bank, retail bank. You should not be paying any money to the lender in advance.
Right?
You really don't need to.
Yeah,
and that's not. But anyway, it's very common for the big banks to do that.
Okay, the second portion of closing costs are going to be title escrow fees. Right, so we just covered the top portion of closing costs are going to be lender-related costs, even though, again, they're really super boring. It's the lender fee, you got the appraisal, you got the tax cert, and you got the real estate cert. So again, very, very boring. Then we move down to the next section. Again, it's highly competitive, and I'm going to call these boring as well, but you got two big groups within the title section of the closing costs, which is escrow fee. So what is escrow? Our escrow fee here is what, $350?
$350 for this transaction would be it's a very typical fee. That fee is all the costs that's the labor cost for the escrow officer to do all the work on your file. Lots goes into that fee. It's ordering payoffs, collecting, communicating back and forth with lenders,
one of the county. One of the biggest, thankless jobs, I think, is as part of the refinancing and purchase process, or what our title professionals do. They just provide an awesome service. It's all done behind the scenes, and when these deals close on time, like ours do, it's a lot because of what they do for us. So there's that escrow fee.
Yeah, we have great escrow officers that work with us, and it's just awesome. They make the big difference. And that fee is about $350.
How about the lender title policy?
Okay, so then there's a title policy, right? This is the title policy that is all the research is being done on your property to make sure that the chain of title that you still own the property, no one else has made another claim to it. And it's called a lender's title policy. And it's really for the lender's benefit. Now, you also, when you purchased the house, you were given an owner's policy. So this is a little different, but so you don't need an owner's policy when you get a refinance. This is something that is only for refis. It's called the insurance or lender's policy. And usually will run about $500.
And again,
Okay.
that is for the benefit of the lender, because that lender is going to be giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the way that they're doing that is because there's a little insurance policy in place that says, don't worry, you're giving the money to the right person who owns the right home.
Yeah, and they're basically saying it's kind of an insurance that's saying since the day that you bought your house, no one else has made any claims or anything like that from that day to the current. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So that's important.
That's that. What else?
And then there's going to be a recording fee. A recording fee is going to be when the title company records the deed down at the county. It's all electronic. Those fees are going to range but maybe between $60 and $80. So there's a recording fee.
Okay. And again, we are not making a dime off of any of this. These are just, again, the raw labor portions of a refinance.
In fact, customers can go to whatever title company they want when they do a refinance. This is not something that your bank has to or force you to use.
Right. Good point.
We use a certain
Good point.
a couple different title companies, but yeah, you can choose whoever you want. We don't make any money on that, but we do work with some great escrow companies. Oh, there was this one last one, and people might be asking, "What's this? $25?"
Yeah.
You'll see this CPL, Consumer Protection Letter, required on all purchases, refinances. You'll see that everywhere, and you're like, "What in the heck?" It's a small little fee, but it is something that the lenders have started asking the title companies for these protection letters. It's kind of like a hold harmless letter, and the title companies are kind of just all universally charge $25 across the industry. So you'll see that little fee, and that's what that is.
Perfect. Okay, so the drum roll on total closing costs for a very standard refi.
Yeah, $2,578 in this example.
Yeah, it could go up, $50, down $50. It could be somewhere in there, but that's about it. There's nothing else that is hidden or that would be coming down the pipe. We do have right now, because of COVID, we have notary fees. A mobile notary, just due to title offices being closed, is being attached. But that'll be dropping off here soon, so we decided not to include that. But that's about $100. But a very standard cost for a refi is $2,500. So. Okay, now there's something else that we're just going to touch on briefly, and this has to do with the taxes and insurance, called the escrow account that we touched on at the very, very beginning. Again, not a cost, folks. Pure and flat, simple, not a cost. It is a cash piece to the actual refinance transaction, but it's not a cost.
Right. People get really confused. I see these closing costs and I see the taxes and insurance. It looks like, so, on a prepaid taxes and insurance, well, sorry, I probably interrupted you there, but the prepaids can generally, if you added up prepaid taxes, prepaid homeowners insurance, and some prepaid interest, in a lot of transactions, it'll be, $1,500, $2,000, it could be more. And when people see the closing costs and these prepaids lumped together, they think the total is all closing costs.
Well, and it certainly doesn't help too when the federal regulated disclosures, clump them in and call them closing costs in a couple of sections. It confuses borrowers all over the place. So yes, it's very, very important, and we talk about it every hour of every day. Is that escrow account, aka your impound account or your prepaid account? They're not costs. They are flat out not costs, folks. They're just simply a cash item. Now, and you brought up an interesting analogy, Ed. You said that it was like putting gas in your car. If getting an oil change is the analogy to refinancing, it would be putting gas in your car is like paying the prepaid or the escrow account. You are having to put gas in your car. It does cost money, but it has nothing to do with the refi. It's basically, your car or your home is consuming real estate taxes and consuming homeowners insurance every day of the year. It's consuming that cost. Okay, just like gas is to your vehicle.
Right. And about 90% of all loans out there have escrow accounts, and the escrow accounts are when the bank is paying your taxes and insurance. So they need to collect up front from you this money. And so they have to kind of, so basically you're prepaying the, to the analogy, you almost have to store the fuel so that they can put it into the car.
Yeah, I love it. That's exactly right. And the reason why we're having to store it is because we are refinancing, which means you're moving from the old lender. So that old escrow account, that fuel storage tank will get reimbursed back to you. So we need to start a new storage tank. So again, not a cost, but it is a cash consideration that always comes up in the closing cost discussion.
That's right. Okay. I hope that this whole podcast has helped understand the closing costs. And if you have any questions, be sure to email us. We'll get back to you. And also, if you like the channel, you like what we're doing here, please subscribe, hit the notification so you can be notified when we do produce the podcast shows. And again, get in touch with us with any questions.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, folks.
Thank you, everyone. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Mortgage Brothers podcast. Please let us know if you have any questions you'd like us to answer. You can email your questions to team@azmortgagebrothers.com and be sure to ask us for a free quote on your next mortgage. We'll be sure to give you personalized service and help you through the whole process. Signature Home Loans, LLC does not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. This material has been prepared for informational purposes only. You should consult your own tax, legal, and accounting advisors before engaging in any transaction. Signature Home Loans, NMLS 1007154, NMLS number 210917, and 1618695, Equal Housing Lender.